So, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It has been quite a long time since the last podcast. I think it's been about 3 months.
Wow.
But we have a very special guest, a longtime friend of mine now, Mr. Kojo Ajman.
Yes, that's me. That's me. How we doing, Kyle?
Excited because number one, you're here, and number two, again, the podcast. It's been a little bit quiet on our front, but wedding season just packed.
I have to say, following you on social media, my ears, sparked up once I saw that you got into all this vlogging and podcasting stuff, and me, I'm always interested in learning something new. So it took a little while, but I did reach out and said, hey,
Said hi.
Said hi. What's up? How you been?
Took a shot.
Swung the bat. Got to swing the bat to get a hit.
That's right.
So here we are, learning and catching up and seeing where this takes us.
So you've had an interesting ride, I guess, over the last, what's it been? It's been a little over a year and a half since we worked together, right?
I think it's 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, we did discuss that. It's been about 2.5. You're married. You have a kid.
18-month-old daughter.
What is that world like?
Everything you do up until the point you have your own child really doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do to prepare yourself for that moment. I don't care if you're a millionaire. I don't care if you're dirt poor. It does help to have a little bit of bread, but that doesn't make or break, once you bring the child home from the hospital, it's all you. How they eat, how they sleep, when they're sick, they can't communicate, so you have to do a lot of, observating and learning on the go. Right. But I wouldn't trade it in for anything else in the world, man, because the way a child looks at their parents with honesty when they're that young, because they don't know any better.
They haven't been broken
into the
world
the society hasn't corrupted them yet. There's no better feeling in the world. And with that, it gave me a new outlook on my parents. And one of the reasons why I'm here, you just want to make them as proud as possible, because being a parent is a big investment, man. You invest your emotions, you invest your time, you invest your money and your children, and that's why, you turn around and you realize, hey, I'm 25, I'm 30, and damn, whatever the case is,
yeah,
you realize that other people sacrifice to get you to where you are. I always use that old saying, Kyle, where someone planted seeds a long time ago so someone could lay in the shade today, so that's where we are, bud.
Both physically and metaphorically,
Yeah,
little seed planting.
Seriously.
If you guys out there get the drift. It's incredible, man. Just, I know that you've mentioned that you've seen me with the vlogs and everything, and that's what made you reach out. I know that over the last 2.5 years now, I saw you become a dad, and it was just like, wow, big milestones. It's incredible, man, to see, because not everybody listening is going to know, but to see where you came.
Absolutely.
Just 2.5 years ago, you battled, and I don't even know what that was, but the health thing.
Yeah, I got really sick.
Yeah, what was that? What
Well, I don't really want to disclose exactly what it was,
okay.
But let's just say it required me to take a leave of absence from work for about 12 to 16 weeks, and that'll definitely shake you up as well. So all that happened at the same time.
Right.
It was November of 2016. Got sick, was out till about February of 2017. A month later, my wife tells me she's pregnant.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? And, you just got to figure it all out. But it's nothing that no one else that hasn't gone through. Nothing new under the sun.
Right.
It's just a matter of stepping up and handling your business. So.
Yeah, for me, the biggest concern was just like, wow, is he ever coming back?
Yeah, it was funny because you and I were, you have your own little asthma. And I remember us at the same time being outside catching our breath, and
yeah,
I didn't come back.
I remember that now. For that time period,
Yeah.
I remember there was a time, and this is the problem I have with, and not to go into too much of like that kind of talk, but like pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
Listen, they're not. Their best interest is not in you getting healthy, getting cured.
No.
What happened was, I still suffer from it: acid reflux, heartburn, that indigestion. I was put onto, and I'll leave the drug, nameless. Was put onto it's called a PPI, a proton pump inhibitor, and it's supposed to like really neutralize everything and take away the burn and stuff like that. Problem was, I took it for 10 days, and all of a sudden I started getting these spasms in my throat. Now I wasn't getting a burn feeling, I wasn't getting an indigestion feeling. The thing worked so well, the pill worked so well, that I could drink something as acidic as orange juice, which I can't touch now. Long story short, I stopped taking that. I guess I was still feeling the effect. My body was still feeling the effects of the indigestion, and that's what was causing the spasm. But I couldn't tell what it was, so that's when I would like peek my head over the cubicle and look at me like, dude, I have to go to the doctor. Remember? Because I felt like my throat was closing, and you drove me.
I did. I did.
I remember that.
I took you to the, what is it, little urgent care or,
that doctor,
urgent center.
That doctor looked at me and he's like, what the fuck are you on?
Yeah.
What kind of drug? Not just this pill. Are you like, you doing drugs right now? What is this? Because your throat is fine. Your tongue, that was another thing. I couldn't, like, my tongue was super dry.
Yeah.
And he's like, everything looks fine. He goes, all your readings are normal.
He thought you were having a panic attack.
I was like, this is not normal. I looked at him, I was like, I'm going to die. He's like, you're not going to die. He goes, you're going to feel like this, but you're not going to die. So I started just Googling and going down the wormhole of Google. I found a message board. Not a WebMD one, but like just like one of those off-site message boards, and everybody was talking about it. And I still get email updates from it. I don't respond. I haven't responded since that time period, because once I read it, it was like, this could last 3 or 4 months, your side effects, even after taking it for just 10 days. Sure enough, about 90 days later, everything was gone.
Nice.
I still get heartburn, and you bring up asthma. It affects my asthma when I sleep. I'll wake up with like a slight wheeze. And that's another thing, man. I guess that goes into the next thing. Mine, it's all brought on by diet. That's what did it in. We were just talking. Yeah.
As I eat my Italian sub.
It was a great Italian sub.
It was slamming.
Phenomenal. We were just talking about how you had recently hit the gym, and something that happened with me was after about a year or so of going through some personal shit, some depression and stuff like that. I just recently started pounding my body with like vegetables and the right foods and salads. That's a big thing that I've been on now, and I feel a lot better.
Yeah, I always attested to, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2", over 300 pounds, but not sloppy at all, so don't get it twisted.
No.
Throwing up that 225 like it's no problem. But I always attested to, when you put living things in your body, you're going to feel alive.
Yeah.
So when you put all these processed foods, and it sounds cliche, but it is the truth. Like, your body will react the way you feed it, the way you treat it,
Of course.
And as we get older, you know what I'm saying, we don't have the luxury of getting oil changes on our organs and on our bones, so you got to make sure we treat it right. But like you mentioned before, even with me, like even though I thought I was exercising and eating right, you got to really just hone in on what works for you, because not everything that works for everybody works for everybody. And, take care of it. Just take care of it and just be consistent with it. And let the chips fall where they may.
Now, are you taking any, like, multivitamins or anything like that? Or are you on any sort of plan like that or a daily regimen?
So right now I'm on, like, a paleo kick. Mostly just whole foods and fruits, vegetables, lean meats, fish. I try and do, like, oatmeal once a week just to get that fiber in me. And then if I want to go really clean, I'll just have an egg omelet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for the most part, it'll be like fruit in the morning, meat and vegetables, portion controlled in the afternoon. Afternoon snack will be another fruit or nuts. And then for dinner, I try and do fish.
Mm-hmm.
And then going to the gym, I was mentioning this to you earlier that I thought I was working out.
Right, yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
So what I would do is I would go and do my normal routine, which would be go to the gym. Right, if I'm doing, I do a push-pull workout. So if I'm doing chest, I'm doing arms. So I'll do about 4, chest exercises and 4 bicep exercises and 4 tricep exercises. And then after that, I would hit the treadmill or hit the elliptical machine. Get a good sweat, be on there for 20, 30 minutes. So I'm in the gym for a total of about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes tops. So my niece came up here for her summer internship. She wants to be an attorney, and my older brother's a really good friend's an attorney, so she interned with him over the summer. She had nothing really to do during the week other than go to work, so I told her to come with me, come by my house, have dinner, and we'll go to the gym. So I did my routine with her, and at the end of the first couple of days, she looked at me, and she was like, well, what are we doing here? I was like, what? She's like, that's not working out. I was like, what? She's like, nah. So she started showing me these insanity type circuit workouts, and I fell in love with them. Because
why? What about it?
Well, I played football growing up, from pee-wees throughout high school, and it just got me back into really moving.
Yeah.
Treadmills and ellipticals are great.
It's not the same.
But it's not the same.
Plus, you do those HIIT workouts and that circuit training or whatever. And I played football a little bit.
Absolutely.
Towards the end of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I miss that, like that pushing your body, like.
It gets to the point where I fell in love with feeling like I was gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm out of breath to the point where excuse me, I'm gasping for air.
And this is right now when you're working out.
But mentally, it's a mental hurdle.
Right.
I use that phrase a lot. It's a lot of mental hurdles you have to get over. But mentally, I tell myself before I'm working out, you're supposed to be huffing and puffing.
Yeah.
Don't get afraid or don't get nervous or don't stop yourself when you get to that point. Because when you get to that point, that's when it's really starting to work.
Yeah, well, listen, there's a thing where your body goes into this survival mode. And each time that you get there, it helps your body push through it, and you can go a little bit more the next time, and the next time, and the next time.
Don't get it twisted, because this was in June. So through the month of June, I worked out probably 27 out of 30 days.
Nice.
And I was building my stamina up.
Right.
July came around with the 4th of July and the holiday. Then I had a birthday party, a wedding.
Yeah,
you start to kind of, you know what I mean? You start to drift a little bit. You're not as disciplined with what you're eating. You're not as disciplined with your schedule like you were going.
Yeah, life gets in the way.
But you're still doing your thing. You're still cautious of what you're eating. You're still going to the gym 4 days, 5 days a week, but it's not as sharp as it had been.
Right.
And August comes around, and you're like, man, I should have been more advanced by now in my wind, in my stamina, and things like that. So when they say consistency is the key to anything, it's so true.
It's with
so
everything.
true.
With everything.
It's so true.
Within the last week, it's been less than a week.
Yeah.
Because this was Sunday. Since Sunday, I've lost 8 pounds.
Yeah.
And that's just from changing my diet.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not... Today, I would be in I lost 6 pounds, but I'm down in that 8 to 6 range. Now, if I keep it going and I keep doing the right thing and, keep pushing my body in the gym, even if I don't lose any more weight, my body is going to be getting healthier.
Absolutely. That's key. And I'm so glad you say that, because I've struggled. Is that cool? I've struggled with being big for the last like 10 years. And I finally threw out my scale.
Yeah.
Finally threw out my scale because I'm like, yo, me doing these HIIT workouts, I sleep so much better. I wake up with no fog in my head. I bounce up at 5 a.m. You know, when you have a young child and a wife at home, you don't want to be woken up. You'd rather wake up yourself,
Yeah.
trust me.
Yeah, I always
You
make
know what
the
I mean?
joke that with doing weddings and stuff and me being up late, I'll be perfect for whenever I have a kid because they're gonna get up
Yeah,
and start crying as soon as I get home.
yeah.
And then I'll go to bed, and it'll be around 2-3 o'clock anyways.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's a different. You'll never sleep the same.
No.
But the point is, I'm starting to do a couple of different ventures and ideas, and baby steps. But still, I got a phrase that I am going to copyright. So anybody hearing this out there, don't steal it yet. It's already copyrighted. Let me say it that way. But instead of people trying to lose the weight, I say you got to live the life.
Right.
Stop trying to lose the weight. Live the life. Because when you live the life every day, the weight has no choice but to fall off. It may not fall off at your pace or your speed, but if you're living that life every day, like you just mentioned before, there's so many other benefits to it than just the number on the scale.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
well,
mean?
you're being active.
You're just
and-
overall, you're helping your liver, you're helping your lungs, you're helping your brain. You're building your stamina. Your lungs are getting up. If you're into Spartan races or whatever the case may be, and you haven't done them in a while, or if you played sports in high school and you're trying to get back, that number doesn't really matter. It's just about getting active again.
Yeah, there were times in high school during football that they would make us do these, I don't know if it was 300s or maybe more, but it was 25 yards down, 25 yards back, and down, back, just for 25 yards until you hit a certain number. And you had to do it in under a certain amount of time. Otherwise, I think you got some sort of club or punishment or whatever. And I remember, and this goes more into like the pushing your body and living life. I remember, and this is somebody who has asthma, who now it's worse at night, fine throughout the day, worse at night. I would leave football after running all day in the summer heat, 100-degree weather, 95-degree weather, and I would run an extra mile home. I would just jog. I wouldn't even take my car. I would just run home. And I was in the best shape that I ever was that summer going into that fall. Without ever taking any sort of pre-workouts or so. I never even touched a pre-workout back then. It was just food and then go run. Why? Because I have to. Do I really have to do it? No. But I have to do this. Like mentally, if I don't do this, I'm going to sit home. I'm going to play video games, which is fine, to play, I guess, every now and then. But I'm going to sit home all day. I'm going to play video games. You're not going to exercise. You're not going to get those chemicals going throughout your body, toxins out of your body. You're not getting any of those vitamins from the sun or anything like that. It's just better. We're made to be outside.
Yeah, hunter-gatherer,
Yeah.
right? A hunter-gatherer, they, back in the days, woke up. They didn't have stoves and microwaves and
Nothing.
fridges.
They
They had to
didn't
go
have
hunt
food
for their.
wrappers.
They had to go hunt their food, right? So think about it, right? Why do people say working out in the morning is the best, right?
Yeah.
You get up in the morning, you got to go hunt your food, right?
Yeah.
They're walking for miles before they see
Getting
that
after it.
buffalo or that elk or whatever it is. Then they finally catch it. They got to kill it, cook it, eat it, and along the way, what are they eating? Berries,
Yeah.
grass, fruits,
Yeah.
leaves. So that's what we're designed to do,
Man.
But here, I just want to show you this because I know it sounds all good, but I'll show you a couple of videos. I was down in Atlantic City, and I was so into my regimen that even in the hotel room,
You're doing it, right?
I'm getting after it. And it doesn't take long, bro. You need a good 15 minutes. You will be... Is it playing?
No, it'll play though.
Okay. You will be good for the day if you really go get after it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do
like 2 8-minute circuits. And when I mean circuits, it's like, 2...
Oh, yeah, you're doing
squats,
push-ups.
push-ups, running in place, side-to-side suicides, knee highs, scissor kicks,
Hell yeah.
mountain climbers, getting after it. You know,
7:30 a.m. July
telling
22nd.
I'm telling you, bro. On
Atlantic
vacation,
City. You could be doing anything
anywhere
else.
in a hotel room. In a hotel room, you don't need much space, and that's the mental hurdle I was telling you about before that I had to get over because who wants to go to the gym and be that guy in the corner that's doing X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
But it's your body, it's your health, and if it's important to you, which it will be one day, you're gonna have a family of your own. You want to be around for another.
Yeah, man. I think about it now. It's like
years.
I went.
It's important.
So also on top of the recently just pounding my body with just like I'm calling it like the no wrappers diet. Not like the rapper.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But the no wrappers.
Whole foods.
Yes.
Whole foods.
So I've seen changes in the way that things digest in and out of my body, but also I've started running at the same time. I'm not talking about anything big, but a jog for about a half hour. A walk in between, but doing it outside.
Yes.
Doing it in the heat because. There's, again, that survival instinct and that thing in your body that kicks in. There's something similar that I also started doing after hearing it on a Joe Rogan podcast with regards to going in the sauna at the gym. And I'll sit there. And in the beginning of the week, or in the weekend, rather, is when I started on Friday, it was 10 minutes. And I was like, fuck, I can't do this.
Well, here's what I'll say about the sauna, right? And not to cut you off, but I just don't want you to get false hope in the sauna.
Right. I don't use it as a weight loss thing.
No.
Yeah.
But see, what happens is with the sauna is you'll get a great sweat. You get a great sweat. Phenomenal. You'll feel excellent.
Yeah.
You get the toxins out. You'll get all that out. But you're not doing anything to increase your stamina.
No, you're not. No.
You know what I mean?
But if you use it the right way,
if you do it post.
Called heat shock proteins.
Is it post-workout or pre-workout?
No, it's before.
Okay.
So I do it. I'm hot. My, inner thermostat is like through the roof now. It's, it's 160, 180, that I'm sitting in there for. And then it'll be like, all right, time to lift. But it's not even like a bunch of heavy weights now. Now it's more like push-pull. So I'm starting off hot. So,
your body's already warmed up.
More,
yeah.
But I make sure not to leave until, like, I'm sweating.
Right.
And, there are these things called heat shock proteins that I started reading up on. But also, more importantly, with somebody with asthma, they say that it does help. That hot air, for some reason, over the long term, can help. So that's kind of what I'm playing around with now. But, we'll see where that goes down the road. I just enjoy it. I feel like it goes back to the football workouts, that mentality of, all right, let's go.
Even for me, I think, and you'll start to notice this too, with your busy schedule, you got a lot of things going on. You need to find something that's Kyle's time.
Yeah.
That's your time. And if that's what you enjoy doing in your time, then you just got to get after it. Like you said, you're just going to feel so much better about yourself, and you accomplished your goal for the day, and it's beneficial in so many aspects. You know what I mean? That's what I'm kind of doing now for myself. Like, I don't look at it as a, we could all do the Instagram inspirational quotes and all that stuff. Everybody has those every once in a while, but I use some of them as well. But honestly, you just need to find something that's your time. You're doing it. You're appreciating it. And, exercise isn't torture. It's actually a blessing that we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You ever been sick and you can't move?
You know what I mean?
And
break an ankle or pull a hammy or whatever it is.
Thinking about the week before when you were fine.
It was all good just a week ago.
Like, man, about a week ago.
Yeah, right?
But you look back on those times and you're like, man, I can't wait to get back to that.
Right?
Just feeling normal.
Yeah.
No, get out. Go push yourself.
Yeah, man.
You're meant to be out there doing it.
I set myself a little goal. And again, as I had my Italian sub, I'm not going to lie. I'm being honest with myself. I started in June, and I was gung-ho in June. July, I kind of didn't fall off, but just kind of.
Well, it's summer, just bursted onto the scene.
But still,
it's not the end of the world.
Right. So it's August now. It's, first week in August.
Dog days.
Dog days, brother. Sunday is summer, baby. So I said I'm going to give myself 5 months of consistency. I'm going to go back and see my doctor, I believe, probably sometime in October.
Is this still related to?
Yeah, he's my medical doctor overall.
So checkups
and everything.
Right.
Yeah, just normal stuff that everybody should do. You should always go, man, if you can.
I've been going a lot, just largely for the asthma and overall health.
Yeah.
Get it under control.
Blood work, get it done once a year, twice a year.
You have to know because even though you can't change the oil on your organs,
you can change your habits.
Yes, and you can do the right things to keep the vehicle going.
Absolutely. Keep it out of the shop.
Listen, you can get in a car accident, and the car, you can repair it. You may have a scar on the vehicle itself. I'm talking actual cars now. You could have a dent on the side. You fix it. The scar might still be there, but that thing could run.
Big facts.
You get it fixed, the thing's going to run,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's really interesting for me, it's always interesting to see people as they get older, and I find it more with people I know. So I don't know if I could say everybody, but there's that whole falling off the wagon thing, and that's what really is something I don't want to do. I don't want to spiral into oblivion, and let myself go and
dude, it
stuff
happens,
like that.
man.
And it does happen. I caught myself for a year.
And I could tell you something right now. Even with me, I stay active, and I'm not where I want to be, but you can blink, man. You could blink, and before you know it, 2 years goes by.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, you're like, what? Like, what happened? So that's why I'm telling, I say it to, what I'm trying to say is that, just put in the work, live the life, be conscious, and 4 days a week, 15, 20 minutes a day. Believe me, if I could do it, and if I'm doing it, trust me, anybody could do it. I look forward to it.
Well, that's a great thing that there's something that is in a way your anchor that you look forward to, that you're like, I not only have to do this, but I want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I want to.
Yeah.
A lot of times people can't differentiate or can't make those things that are good for them into wants.
Yeah.
I hated salad. I know this is like probably the 15th time I brought it up. Now I it's been 5 days and I'm like, I need another one.
What you need to do, though, is venture out.
Yeah.
All right? Start eating some peppers.
Yes.
Start eating some broccoli. Start eating some string beans.
Yep.
Start eating some zucchini.
So it doesn't get boring.
Right.
Because it's gonna.
Now not that it will get boring, but now you're like, oof. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is great. It's like it's like if you could have a dessert every meal and it wouldn't do anything to you, your favorite dessert. By the 5th or 6th meal of it, you're gonna be like, oh, again.
Yeah.
I have to have this again.
Absolutely.
Here's
and this is a great another segue here. The beauty of social media is it takes the average everyday person and gives them a voice, right?
Yes.
Okay. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
All right? So let's just stay with the good things.
Yeah, we'll say all good.
Stay with the good things here, right? So what I started to do, just with anything I'm interested in, and again, you're going to start to get cultured, and you're going to start to realize all the things you want to do, now's the time to do it. There is no, I'm going to wait. No. Anything you want to do, now's the time to do it. I took that from looking at you, to be honest, with your whole business that you got going on, and, the events and the vlogging and the podcasting, and, you just woke up one day and said you're going for it, and you went for it. So I say that to say this. With social media, I use Twitter and Instagram for hashtags, right? So I wanted to start playing chess again, just because I played as a kid.
Now, when you say you hashtagged, are you searching the hashtags?
Right. So what I'll do is I'll search chess.
Okay.
And it'll give me...
You're using it for research.
For research.
Yep.
And now you get over 100,000 posts of people playing chess.
Different strategies.
Different this, that, and the third, right? I do that
tricks.
with my circuit workouts. I hashtag hit workouts. I hashtag hit running. I hashtag hit lifting.
Right.
I hashtag... And then you get all these everyday people that show you different techniques and different things. And now you add that to your toolbox. And so that's the greatness, or that's the beauty that I choose to see in social media. And I use it for Twitter, I use it for Facebook, I use it for Instagram. Whenever I'm trying to do research, I have so many hashtags that I follow that now, whether it's meal preps, fitness, chess, movies, anything that I'm into.
It's like your own personal college.
Essentially, whatever your interests
are, research,
you can narrow in on it and really see it now because everything's visual, right? So when I'm scrolling, I'm not just looking at TMZ or the Shade Room or what's going on with Chris Brown today. And I'm actually seeing stuff that I'm interested in, that I want to learn about, that I'm, trying to progress in. So that's what I use my social media for.
Social media is a tremendously positive tool.
Can be.
If you use it right.
Can be.
Now,
I agree.
I
see you on social media. I see you on social media, Kyle.
I'm not on Twitter. I'm a little bit more vocal on Facebook about certain things that I see going on in current events.
Right.
But again, staying back to the research thing.
Sure.
I think it's a tremendous tool. I think that it's something that, from a business owner standpoint, for myself, and we'll break it down even further, wedding entertainment and I guess even being, without even realizing it, an entertainer per se, I've learned a lot, which has helped me get to here in just a few years' time. I mean, when I met you, it was, at my job, I'm writing up contracts for my dream career. And then in the year and a half that followed, it was, okay, now I'm working at home. And home was an apartment that I was sharing with someone I was with. And now we're sitting in an office.
Yeah, man.
We're sitting in a physical place that is now, Gold Standard Entertainment, and we're rocking a podcast.
GSE.
Yeah, GSE. And we're talking about these kind of life important things. I have learned a tremendous amount on social media. I try to use Instagram the most for business and occasionally a personal thing that I think is cool, that I think somebody else might think, oh, that looks cool. I am very close to getting off of Facebook. Like, very close, just because I don't need to see people fighting all the time, and I also don't need to engage in it. And to be fair to those people that are fighting, I jump in it too. And I think that, there are times where I'll write a post, and it could be right, it could be morally right, it could be politically right, it could be, because we're in a strange time now where you can't blend it together or somebody's going to fight with you.
Well, here's what I'll say to tie all that in.
So I'll write it up real quick, and then I'll delete it.
Well, you got it off your chest.
Yeah.
But you didn't send. You didn't press send.
It's like, when you go home when you're younger and you're fighting with the referee who's not even there anymore.
Yeah. So what I use social media for, I use them all differently, right? And you'll see one day. So Facebook to me is the family social media, right? That's the wife, the kids.
That's what it was meant for.
The family, right? That's what I use it for. Twitter is more the ratchet you.
Yeah.
Before the likes on Twitter, I thought Twitter was brilliant because you could just say whatever you wanted, and there was no validation.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't matter. It was just your thought, your tweet.
Yep.
That's it. It was out there. It didn't get 90 likes or
retweets,
nothing.
Like that.
This was the original way. Then that changed as well. Instagram also was great because it was a photo.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Photo album?
No. When you're diary.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I like to do is I like to post. So there's a timeline. It's like, in 2015 I went to Cali, I went to San Fran, I went to LA. This is what we did. I went to a Laker game. I'm a huge Laker fan. I went to the Staples Center. We get into that.
Yeah.
But,
let's do it.
But that's right. We did go do that weekend. Oh, that's right. Oh,
it's nice to look back on.
You know what I'm saying? So it was
really
like a photo diary, which is what I thought it was meant to be. And then the comments, people can.
Were comments always a thing on Instagram?
You know what? It's funny you say that because I was outside the gated community when Instagram launched.
Right.
I didn't have an iPhone.
I don't remember.
I had a Galaxy. So I remember people with iPhones would be like, oh, you're on Section 8 because we're in the gated community with Instagram. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but,
I remember it
was just a joke.
They had these filters, and the cool thing was instead of taking a regular photo from your camera
right.
and just having it in your album, now you could share a photo, either regular or filtered.
Yeah.
And you could filter the hell out of it. I mean, I remember...
We're talking probably like 7 years ago. Yeah.
2012, 2011.
Yeah.
I have some photos on there that look like somebody drew it. Not even because I wanted to, but because of the quality. Yep. Even back then, it looks like, it's not a great photo, but at the time, it looked really good.
It was different.
The filters, and you can tell when somebody overused the saturation because they were orange or red or, or blue or anything. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know when there's an appropriate time to use a platform in today's world to try to have a rational current events conversation without offending anyone.
Well, what happened was, I'm not that much older than you, but I could see the change, and after 9/11, things changed in this country.
Right.
We all know what happened with 9/11. And then as we progressed through the Bush administration and then Obama's administration and now with Trump's administration, it just seems as that the social media gave people a voice initially.
Right.
Then it's kind of like being at the bar getting the beer muscles. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I could say whatever I want and nothing's going to happen to me.
Right.
So that became normal.
Well, because the big taboo was don't bring relationships or religion theoretically to the dinner table.
I'm getting that, right? So when I grew up, you didn't speak about race, religion, politics, or your money.
Right.
Because those are just off the table.
Yeah.
We could talk about the weather, sports, movies, film, that ref stinks, like you said, that teacher's this, whatever. But those couple of subjects right there were off the table.
Yeah. So
then what happens? They get brought to social media. All right? And I'll just say this. I feel like people treat their emotions like a sport. Whereas if you're not rooting for my team, then there's no team. And that's not right.
And it sucks because we're all team.
We're on the same team.
America.
We're on the same
we're all
team.
Team people. At the end of the day, the world should be. We're all team people. No, but we're fighting over this and that and this, and it would be nice if we. Listen. Do you want to have teams in sports? Awesome.
Yeah.
Do Yankees, Red Sox, Duke, UNC, Lakers, Celtics.
Yeah, all day.
But, you see a lot of fights going on in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
They look the same. No, but one says they're this sect and another says they're another sect. And it's like, we're here on this planet. What are we
Well, you also have to remember in other parts of the world is not the U.S.
No, and I get that.
Right, so let's leave the other parts of the world.
Right. We'll let them.
Yeah.
We'll let
they
them
can figure it out.
Have their day.
They can figure it out. But here
we're team. Yeah.
We're allowed to.
So I wanted to say team people, but we'll go smaller, a microcosm that. We're Team America.
We're allowed to have a difference of opinion than leadership, right?
Yes.
And you're actually allowed to voice that difference of opinion.
Yeah, it's one of the beautiful things about the country.
That's what we're based on, right? So I say that to say this: when people bring it to social media, and like I mentioned before about being able to say things and nothing happening to you, people get really aggressive.
Right.
You and I have had conversations about our views on certain things and certain things. And one of our ex coworkers as well. I love having conversations with him because we see things totally different, but we can actually have a conversation.
Right.
And he can make me see things one way, and I can maybe make him see things one way. And you're like, you know what? I never looked at it like that. You're right. Or I never looked at it like that. You're right.
Right.
And that's okay because you're so used to or so passionate about whatever it is you see or you view. We forget that not everybody sees things through the same lens. I was having a conversation with someone about gun laws, right? This is years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's ridiculous. What's the point of somebody having a AK-47? Blah, 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 blah. Just going down that whole wormhole, like you said, right? And then the person was like, okay, well, seatbelts, right? It's mandated now that seatbelts should be worn in a car. You driving, it's up to you if you want to wear it or not. Mm-hmm. You get pulled over, it's a crime. You're going to get a ticket for it.
Right.
It should be the same way with gun laws. You're not going to be naive enough to be like, oh, you put a gun law in place, it's going to stop all the killings, it's going to stop all the this, that, and the third. No, you're naive. But at least if the law was put into place, it'd be a crime.
Right, and then once you label things as a crime, people say, I don't want to commit that.
I think twice about that, right?
Yeah.
So that percentage might go down 20%.
Right.
20% is a lot.
Which saves exponential amount of lives.
100,000 lives.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. So when the person made me see it that way, I was like, you know what? You're right.
Right.
And that's all it took was to have a dialogue, an honest conversation back and forth. Mm-hmm. And it made me realize, like, no, putting a gun law in place is not going to stop people from selling AK-47s. It's not going to stop half the crime that's going on all over the country. But like you said, even if it can deter 20%, how many lives do we potentially save by doing that? Right,
and I think it's important, with what's going on in the country. I mean,
but you can't bring that up on social media.
No, there's no rational forum yet for social media.
No.
This is probably the most rational we get.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's a podcast format, and it's not overly social to everybody else.
Right.
But I think that so this is a talking point that I want to get to, but I think with the whole gun law thing, look, you're never going to get everybody to hand their guns in.
No. Who's that? No one's even asking for that.
Well, I don't know how accurate this is, and I'll look it up, but what's his name? Who's running? Biden. I heard on a podcast that he said, and I think he's shooting from the hip here, no pun intended, we're going to take all the guns away.
That's not American.
Accurate that is.
Yeah,
that he said that.
Yeah, that's not American.
But I think like a car, everybody's allowed to have a car unless you break certain rules, unless you commit certain acts that are deemed crimes and stuff like that. I don't think a gun should be any different. But what I'm also saying is there's regulations on cars. There's certain things you can have that make it street legal versus things that if you have it, you're getting pulled over for. You're getting...
Got turbo in the back.
The turbo, you're rocking NOS down.
21.
Yeah, you're getting nailed.
Yeah.
You're speeding over a certain amount, you're getting nailed. Yeah. And for each mile that you go over, you get a higher degree of penalty. I don't think that there's just one answer. But I think if you put them together collectively, you're going to have something good come out of it.
I just look at it like this, man. It's 2019, okay? The country was built on guns and butter, right? And if you follow the money, you usually find your answers, okay? There's too much money coming into the country or coming into our flow for them to honestly say no, because that would probably cause a void that they wouldn't know how to fill, right? So let's just be honest. That's the reason why most things are ignored or handled. It's because of the money.
Oh yeah, money's.
It's sad. It's the end all be all, you know.
Unfortunately.
But I don't think I should say there's any reason for anyone to own an AK-47.
Right.
Right. Somebody please tell me why, and I'll listen. I'll listen. I'll be like, you know what, you're right. Okay. But me personally, if it's not a hunting tool or protection against who? I mean, if you're trying to protect yourself against your local town police,
yeah, I think you have other problems.
You know what I'm saying?
You probably need more than just one.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you
you're
probably
doing something wrong.
You probably need a little army.
Or
you know?
you need your little band with you to help you out. So, you know, that's where I stand on that.
Biden was the quote that I got, and this is just a Google search from Fox. I'm just going to read his quote.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, assault weapons should be illegal. Period. The Second Amendment doesn't say you can't restrict the kinds of weapons people can own. You can't buy a bazooka. You can't have a flamethrower.
You can't.
Right. You can't buy a bazooka. You can't have a flamethrower.
Okay. That narrows it down.
It does narrow it down. But here's the thing. Elon Musk made something called Not a Flamethrower. And it's sitting in, I think it's sitting in Joe Rogan's studio. So we gotta.
Was that the same studio they were blazing trees in?
Yeah, and his stock fell, and then it shot up.
Yeah.
So we got to get on the we got to get on the JRE.
Yeah.
I don't think Biden's wrong, and I don't agree with everything on either side.
Yeah. We've had this conversation, and that's why I can honestly say, you know, for anybody that, you know, listening or follows Kyle on his social medias, I think it's all perspective.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's an honest opinion. And, you know, good feedback is good.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I agree with him. You can't buy a bazooka. You can't have a flamethrower.
I don't think anybody needs a bazooka.
I don't know what the answer is for AK-47s. I don't think you need them. Me personally, I don't know anything.
But you and I aren't gun lovers, right? We're not in a.
I don't care enough.
But we're not in a state where we're not in a state where you can openly carry.
Yeah.
So that also may play a part on our point of views on guns as well. Maybe someone from Florida or Texas might have a different outlook, or Arizona might have a different opinion or outlook on this conversation. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't have the answers, and I don't think anybody does. One person does have the answer, but
what bothers me the most, and not to cut you off, what bothers me the most is that you can't just say, okay, listen, I get the whole, you don't blame the car for drunk driving, you blame the driver. So you can't blame the gun for, you know, the shooting, you got to blame the person behind it. Okay. That's a rational or a reasonable opinion response. But there are certain things that are going to take out 90 people in a second. It's like driving a car.
Let's just
at a
say,
certain
right?
speed,
Like you said.
Like we were talking about with regulations for street legal and stuff like that. You know, I think that there's, for lack of a better term, an appropriate gun that one can purchase versus, you know, ones that should be left to military and police and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you said. I mean, if you got to reload after 9 shots or 100 rounds, you can do a lot more damage with the one that you got to reload after 100 rounds.
Yeah.
Than, you know, 12 shots or whatever the case may be. So it's simple, man. We all know it, and people can, till they're blue in the face, disagree. No one's asking for your guns.
No.
If you're legally able to purchase a gun, I'm not against that. But I don't think there's any reason for someone to have an AK-47 at their dispense just because. Legally.
Now, I think if you're living in other parts of the world, you might need one.
Yeah, I'm sure. If you're living in Newark, you might need one. You know? I mean, you know.
But I also think that while we can and we should agree on things like that, we should... There's something wrong with a person mentally when they go into an area of high volume and have already decided this is what I'm going to do.
I mean,
take my problems or my feelings and I'm going to end lives of other people. That's not a normal thought.
You know, the only thing that is really grinding my gears right now about these last three, because there was another
Yeah, what
one.
was it? Dayton, El Paso,
And there was a third one that we've become so numb to it. It came and passed. I don't even know all the details on that. But what really is grinding my gears about all of this is the fact that people are trying to use these situations for political gain.
I can't stand it.
And it's really, and
me
personally, I'm like, damn, bro, like these people lost fathers, mothers, brothers, uncles, sisters, wives, cousins, whoever they may be to, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Let's really grieve with these people and not say it's this one's fault or that one's fault or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's a terrible. It disgusts me. The other day when I woke up and I heard this news, man, I was really saddened, man. Like, I got a young daughter and I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I can't imagine me, my wife, or my daughter, something like that happening and having to live with that, you know?
You think about it now, these people, they went out just to go pick something up, let's say, or just...
Absolutely. Me and you right now.
They didn't know that was it.
Me and you right now.
Could be done.
Some guy want to go buck wild, and what are we doing wrong? We're not doing anything wrong, and boom. And that's the crazy part is, I mean, now with these phones, people record everything. You can go to Sesame Street Place.
Yeah.
And
the most disturbing thing I ever saw was that guy that videotaped the fucking shooting overseas, where he walked into the religious building and he just opened fired, and I was like, okay, so this is what now we're using social media for?
Yeah. How about the guy down in D.C. that shot the news reporter live on camera?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he went live, and it's you know, mental illness is a very
I think it's both. I think I think we have to accept that there's both going on here. And somebody, I think we'd have a better political chance if somebody just came out and said, listen, you have this from this side and this from this side, and they're both, you mash them together, and it's just an explosion that takes place. Because you have these sick people coming in with these guns. Like, there's, you know, like...
There's no answer. There's no answer for that, man.
No,
like,
but there's no... The one thing that bothers me the most is there's no recognition from both sides. Like, it's always just... Okay, so a perfect example, right? On immigration. One side is saying, you know, is sympathetic to those that have crossed the border undocumented, and another side is unsympathetic. Well, where's a comment? Why do we have to be so divided? Why does one party have to take this side just because the other party said this side? And I'm not saying choose be unsympathetic or be sympathetic, but why is it that just because there's a Democrat and a Republican, why does every single view have to be, you know, like the other end of that ping pong Atari game, you know, where they just shoot the answer back and forth to each other until somebody scores on a reform or something? I just don't understand it. It's so crazy to me.
What I'll say to that is the policies that are in place right now are extreme.
Yeah.
Right? And you could flip it because in theory it's correct. Right? You can't come in here undocumented. You got to go through the process. You got to come through legally. And there's no nice way to do it. There's no nice way to do it. Now, on the other side of it, and this is all conspiracy theory, you can call me crazy, a lot of the people that are seeking asylum because of we had a large role as the United States of America in supplying these Central and Southern American countries with guns. And those guns are terrorizing those communities. And these people are looking to leave those communities because they have no chance of living unless they escape and come to America.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate what's happened.
So it's a conundrum that was caused to some people by the United States, and now we're slamming the door on them like, no, you can't come here. And not only you can't come here, but we're going to jail you and separate you from your 5-year-old child.
Right.
So like I said,
did you see the video?
I did. I saw it the other day with the little girl. She was crying at my dad and all that. It's heartbreaking, bro, because I have a daughter, and I can't imagine my daughter waking up and saying, "Where's mommy? Where's daddy?"
Right.
At that age. But again, on the flip side, like I said, the policies that are in place right now are in theory correct, but they're extreme.
The only
there's no gray area. There's no...
The only understanding that I can even give to that is, and it's just like that brutally honest, well, that's the rule of that country that you walked into. And they had a yes or a no policy on certain things that happen, and they have a no policy on coming in undocumented, and now they're finding people. And now those people, unfortunately, have to deal with the repercussions or ramifications or whatever you want to call it of that policy that they had about illegal immigration. And
you see, the only issue I have with it, and it's playing to a certain crowd, is our current administration is playing to a certain crowd. And I feel like even if this is the policy and the way we're going to go about it, you could have a more, unfortunately, this is what we're doing right now approach, rather than a load them up approach.
I think our biggest
what I'm saying?
Problem is with, let's just call it what it is. Our biggest problem with the current administration is that I think it's the way the messages are delivered.
But that's purposely done. Do you watch the show The Loudest Voice?
No.
Okay.
What
it's
channel?
a show on Showtime
Okay.
about Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes was the CEO of Fox News, right? Under Rupert Murdoch, obviously, but he was the face and the voice of Fox News. He hired all the people. He set the standard. He set the temperature of what the news was going to be about. And it's he got arrested for like the Me Too. He was like one of the first Me Too guys before even Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that's
right. Okay,
yeah.
so that's guy.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. We can go into that too. But anyway, the reason why I bring it up is because it's showing you how these people play to a certain demographic, a certain agenda. They literally form that channel for a certain mindset,
right?
And they play on it. So it shows in one of the episodes when Obama won the second term over Mitt Romney, him getting on the horn with Donald Trump back in 2013, saying, "Hey, I think you would be the perfect candidate. Trust me."
Obama said this.
No. Roger Ailes is saying this to Trump.
So when Obama won
the second term,
Ailes said this to
reached
Trump.
out to Trump.
But it's funny because Trump is Democrat his whole life up until he needed a platform.
We stayed away from it long enough, but
we can
call a spade a spade. Call a spade a spade. He played. Now
he wanted to win.
Even with this show, it's a documentary of what happened. It's made for TV, but if it's any truth to it, he literally said, "Donald, do this, this, and this, and I guarantee you will win." So he played to Middle America. He played to the white.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, Trump was never gonna take Hillary's spot.
No, I don't even think he was Democrat or Republican. I think if he could come up with his own category, he would.
Yeah, there's
you know what I'm
a lot
saying?
about Trump that is, I mean, listen, from a personal standpoint, he became a billionaire, or whatever, whether we agree that he was or wasn't, and then throughout your life, you found yourself in the White House.
Yeah.
It's a pretty wild ride.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due.
On
you know what I'm saying?
Yourself, and you're winning a lot.
You got to give credit where
there.
credit's due. He,
but I'm agreeing with you in the fact that there's an audience.
Yeah.
You know, and he knew with the Electoral College how to play it to win it. You know, I don't think there's a secret. She got, you know, the more than half the majority or
popular vote.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
She got at least more than half.
Yeah.
But he played that Electoral College, and it was kind of like, okay, well, in order to win, I need this puzzle piece or this chess piece, and then I need that. I don't need the whole board. I just need this spot and that spot.
Well, you know.
But it's wild because when you look at the maps, the counties and the countries, it's a lot of red.
Yeah, but like you just mentioned before, it is a lot of red, but how many points are those reds worth?
Right.
So he actually turned some blue into red.
Yeah, he did.
Which is what really helped him out. And we could also say the Russians helped him out if you choose to believe that or not. But, you know, who knows?
I don't know where I sit on the whole Russia thing. Because
oh, you got it. Yo, listen, this is what I'll say. And I
try not to dive into that.
Yeah, you can't because
we're not there.
I don't have enough research info. I don't even bother to look into it.
Anybody who says they know,
but there are people who know, like our intelligence team. I forget the exact name of them down in DC. Said this happened.
Yeah, the thing is, they're trying to get Trump himself.
That's the problem. See, the problem is, it's like a.
Instead of saying, "Hey, it's the guys around him," which is still not going to impeach him if you want to make
everyone
those
else around
motions.
him is arrested.
Right.
If
it's not him, then technicality-wise, I don't know that law, but I'm assuming if it's not the person exact, you probably can't impeach that one person.
You can impeach. Bill Clinton was impeached.
Yeah, that doesn't mean you're removed.
Right. They could impeach him right now if they wanted to.
I think the Democrat. Who's the guy? It's the guy out of Texas, right? I don't want to. What's the gentleman out of Texas? See, I don't want to use Texas because I could be wrong. There's a gentleman. I gotta look it up. But he's always pushing for Trump impeachments. Because
again, everybody's playing to the crowd, right? You got enough people angry at him that if you win them over, you got a chance of winning the nomination, right? You got Cory Booker, who I think is very articulate. I like him.
Al Green. He's always pushing.
Okay.
Always pushing for it.
But I think Cory Booker is trying to do the opposite of Trump. He's trying to use the race card on the flip side for political gain. These shootings are Trump's fault. These shootings are... Bro, like, you were mayor of Newark. You can't blame you for everything that happened there. Like, people are people. People are going to do things whether he's promoting them to or not. Not saying his message is great by any stretch. But
Trump or Booker? Or
Trump.
Yeah.
But I can't sit here and literally blame him for these things. Now, this is what I'll say about the country.
But you can't say that on social media. Don't say it.
I don't do that.
Somebody is going to get mad.
I don't do that because I really have lost friends over the last few years over it. And it's really like, and you know.
And you know what's crazy? I don't think it ever goes back. Like, there's no pulling back the reins now on the discussion, the open discussion.
If you're an adult, right? I have a friend that we grew up playing Pee Wee football together. I've known this kid since I was 6, 7 years old. In his house, having dinner by my house. I mean, literally grew up together. And, you know, as you grow, we're all in the same trunk, and then we all branch out. But we still kept in touch during, you know, certain times of the year, football season, things like that. I don't want to say too much and give it away. But
he was a friend.
Yeah. He had a very, 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 very different viewpoint on things than I did. Mm-hmm. To the point where it was like, if you view things a certain way, unfriend me. We're not friends anymore.
Oh, my God.
Really? And then the spew that would come out about certain things. Like, we're talking from the summer of 2016 where black dudes were getting shot on camera by cops every day. Black Lives Matter became this whole thing. Like, it was getting crazy for a minute, bro. Like, it was getting like, yo, like, is this really happening? And like you mentioned, if you say something the wrong way,
Yeah.
it's like, bro, I know you my whole life. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And now, because I have something to say about what's going on, and it doesn't agree with what you have to say about what's going on, we're not friends no more?
But how do we get to the point where we let one person who's representing the country...
But still, that's...
I'm not even just talking about him. I'm talking about Obama, Bush, Clinton.
It wasn't like that until Obama.
But how do
Let's
we...
just be honest. When George W. was in office, things were still old-fashioned, right? Right? Let's just say that. Then all of a sudden, 2009 came around, and it was just like...
Yeah, well, I noticed towards the tail end of Bush, people had this problem with him.
Well, he lied to us.
He did. I was too young to realize at the time.
He lied to us.
But that whole,
weapons of mass destruction,
and then
it wasn't there.
I think that was
But did you ever see the movie on Netflix? I think it's called W.
Yeah.
You seen that?
Yeah.
That'll give you some insight on what's really going on, man.
Now, with regards to movies like that,
they're made for TV.
Are we getting the full truth?
They're made for TV.
They're
made for TV. They're made for TV.
The problem is,
but usually where there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh, of course.
And there was a lot of smoke there.
See, here's the thing.
Snoop Dogg might have been over there.
D-O-double-G.
D-O-double Jizzle.
Love Snoop.
Gotta love Snoop.
It's hard for me to say things like this. Bill Clinton was the worst president. Bush is the worst. Obama's the worst. Trump's the worst.
I'll just say this.
I don't think we get an accurate depiction at all of the person who's in there, honestly, from either media outlet. And we have the right-wing media when Obama was there, and they were just chopping him down. Yeah. And then in Bush, we had, I noticed it more towards the end. And again, being young, chopping him down. And I'm sure with Clinton, right-wing media probably jumped all over the Monica Lewinsky and whoever was before that. And, and then the Trump thing. Now, I just think that, what I think happened at a certain point, we got to fuck it. I'm just going to say whatever I want. And the media started doing that too, voicing their feelings. And it's okay to voice feelings, but there's a lot of slander now. Remember when slander used to just be between the politicians, the mudslinging?
Well, I mean, they had those ads that would come out, and this guy's in the Dominican Republic with underage girls and all this stuff. I'm like, what is going on right now?
The most disturbing image was in Virginia. I don't know who it was, but there was one candidate saying that basically, if you vote for the other one, that you're going to see like vans running down children in the street. It was a very disturbing one. It was recently too, and I was like, "Oh my God, here we are." Now we're not just like the still picture of your opponent with the quotes. No, now we're like we're getting Marvel and DC to film
getting trailers.
And you're it's not even like so this is a kind of good drawback because we talk about politics, but talking about the podcast and things that we've done here, as part of the inspiration behind all of this has been, 6-7 months ago I started listening to Joe Rogan's podcast and a couple other podcasts, but he recently had Bernie Sanders on. Okay. And again, I don't agree with everything Trump says. I don't agree with everything Bernie says, but I like to listen. I like to listen to like Andrew Yang's podcast that he did.
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
Seems very reasonable.
I think he's just very outside of the norm. Yeah. Which is good, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think Yang is just a very like...
He seems like he's from California.
He seems like he's just very calm. Just, this is how we're going to do things.
Yeah, he just seems like...
And, maybe party alignment aside, maybe just need somebody that's like, listen, we're just going to relax. Just going to... Everybody
well,
breathe.
that's
you know?
that's okay.
And he's Asian, right? So
He is
maybe
Asian.
we need now
I mean,
an Asian in office, and then we can get a Hispanic or
what we need?
LGBTQ.
That's what I was gonna say. We need a Hispanic lesbian woman to be the next president, and everybody will be happy, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but then you have to have like a non-binary.
Oof.
See, like,
I'm just kidding.
Right?
But
right? How dare you? How dare you offend the masses?
But
the masses that listen to the podcast. How dare you?
In all seriousness,
no. But I think we need somebody to just be like, guys, relax. Like,
well, here's what I'll say.
We're
right?
the same team.
But this is what when I go back to saying that it's a team, right? Red team, blue team, right? So there are some policies that are being passed and put into place that even if you're a Republican right now, do not benefit you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't just vote because of the color or the team. You should go with the policies that directly impact you and your family. Mm-hmm. Now, if it happens to be one way or the other, great. But don't just do it because a lot of people will say, oh, screw this, screw that, screw this, screw that. And I'm like, do you realize that college program works for both Democrats and Republicans that are making less than $100,000 a year?
Oh, but the left proposed it. Oh, but the right proposed it.
No, so I can't.
Who cares?
Who cares? Now you're going to have to come out your pocket an extra $50,000 a year or whatever it might be.
Because you couldn't just vote yes or no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I think, like you said, this whole non-party alignment would be great because now it's just about what policies do you believe in?
Right.
Not because I'm a Democrat or not because I'm a Republican or not because I'm this or that. It's just what works best for you and your family. Go do it.
What I think would be really interesting is if somehow an independent got their way into that final ticket more than what we saw with Jill Stein and Gary Johnson, like, was actually part of the debates. Listen, you have those four.
I think Ross Perot was the last one that actually
he
was.
made some noise too,
yeah,
right?
he did. He sure did.
You had those in an election where nobody was right.
Yeah.
Not winged. I mean, literally, like, there was
correct.
It felt like nobody was the best choice.
Yeah.
Why aren't Stein and Johnson? And I'm not saying I, voted for them either, but why aren't they on there? It's 4 people.
Because everyone's so aligned with a team,
right?
They'd have no shot.
Networks.
They'd have no shot. They'd have no shot. So it's like you have. That's what kind of killed Bernie. In the last
party did him
because
like, openly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like you had to pick the lesser of 2 evils.
But how is she the lesser?
Because there was the sure bet. Her husband has the experience.
Yes, it's the sure
she
bet.
Has the experience.
I think he was the lesser of the 2 evils between him. Like when you, I mean, like
if he would have ran up against,
I think he
Trump,
might have won.
Not a chance.
You don't think so?
No way. The only chance.
And I'm not saying I'm a field of burn person.
Yeah.
But
no, he had no chance.
Yeah,
he had
I guess
no chance.
not because she got the majority.
She had
the popular and didn't win.
She had exactly. There you go. That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
She even won outright in the number of votes and still didn't win. So, for her to beat Bernie to get there and then still get those numbers.
The thing that bothers me about,
I think Bernie was more coastal.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me is the whole superdelegates thing. It's like you're getting delegates, but then you get these added on ones from the DNC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the GOP does that. I think theirs is just delegates. We're giving X amount to you and X amount to you. But the DNC can give their superdelegates to the candidate of their choice, on top of delegates.
I'm going to be completely...
I think. I could be wrong. I'm stupid on this. I'm
just
very dumb on this.
I was just going to say that. I'm going to be completely honest.
For anybody listening, a poli-science major, I'm very
really,
dumb.
don't take our...
piecing together 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know enough on this. I don't pay
somebody
attention.
got in a car accident outside. That's
go.
kind of like us talking about the Electoral College. It's just a car accident.
Pretty much. I'm just a cartoon watching Yankee game every once in a while.
So now we segue into sports, right?
Yeah.
We'll let's do a little segue because we've been meaning to. So I want to segue out of politics because that's, I guess, what we ended up talking about, whether we meant to or not. And while going into sports and then hopefully full-blown sports after that. Actually, this is a great tie-in. This guy, he ties in all three pretty well. Go back to social media and politics and sports, with us being Laker fans.
Yes, sir.
What was your take on LeBron and his interactions with the president back when that was going on? Do they still have their back and forths? I don't really know, but I know at one time there was some really heated moments between stuff that I don't think we've ever seen.
So I tweeted to Mr. Donald Trump directly, and I said,
Did you get him going?
Well, he didn't respond to me, but I said, politics aside, you're a real piece of shit. Because here it is, a man taking his own resources, not asking for fundraisers or people to help him out, and building a charter school to take young, let's just keep it real, African-American kids off the streets, give them an opportunity to become something, give them motivation to be decent citizens and human beings, and you're bashing him for it.
How did that all get started between?
Because Trump was beefing with the guy from CNN. I think it was Don Lennon or Don Lemon. I don't know the guy's name. Right?
Is it Lemon?
I don't know.
Don was beefing with Don.
Don was beefing with the guy from CNN, right? And that guy interviewed LeBron James about the charter school. And then Donald came out and said, he was pretty stupid or something like that for allowing this guy, something along those lines.
Did he say Don Lemon?
Whatever the guy is
stupid. Or he couldn't believe LeBron
would sit down with somebody that was something along those lines, right? Uh-huh. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, this isn't the roast. This isn't Comedy Central. This isn't Rosie O'Donnell type. This is like real deal stuff here.
The problem with Trump is, and these networks is, before he was president, he was tied in with TV. So conversations like this, they wouldn't happen with somebody who's not familiar with TV. And I'm not saying he's right.
Right.
I'm just saying this sounds like somebody. Like when somebody talks about something a little bit more in depth, and the quote common folk, everyday people have no idea what's going on,
right? And
everybody's just like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, let it go. But to them, it's like, no, I have to say this. I have to say this. I think that's the case with Trump sometimes. I know he panders to an audience to a degree too, but to me, this sounds like somebody that maybe knows Don on a personal level or something, and he's just like, I can't believe he would sit down with that, whatever term he used, and it's not the proper place or person to be saying it, but since he has that direct line of also being in TV in the past, do you think that might be why he felt the need to say it? I mean,
all right, here's my,
because I can't put a finger on it.
Here's my honest opinion about Trump in general.
Yeah, go for it.
I think my personal opinion is that he has no filter as a person of who he is, right? Mm-hmm. And that characteristic was never presidential.
Right.
being president literally is the definition of being politically correct. Right? Saying the right thing at the right time. May not be exactly what you believe, but for the moment, at the right time, you have to say whatever's going to work in the moment to get things to move along. Trump is the exact opposite of that. He's going to say how he really feels all the time and doesn't care who he offends or makes angry because his following 90% of the time is going to support him regardless, right? So he can't do no wrong. He literally went to Puerto Rico and was shooting jump shots with paper towels at people after they were massively destroyed by a hurricane. Like, showed no compassion.
I don't know enough about Puerto Rico.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you see a lady right now outside here get hit by a car, you're not going to run up to her and be like, well, you deserve that.
And jump shot her Band-Aids.
You know what I'm saying? Here you go. Here's a rag. Go clean yourself up. You're like, damn, you okay? Is everything all right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Just out of natural human nature, you know? I think he knows what plays to his core.
I think he's...
And he's playing to his core.
I've said this to other people. I think he's a little socially awkward. That's just my view on it is that because everybody knows there's a time and a place. But this doesn't appear to be what goes on with thoughts.
Right.
Him.
He doesn't have to. And that's what he won on. And that's what people wanted. I'm tired of being politically correct. Now, I don't know if you saw the video the other day. There's a lady at Sesame Street Place. She told some other lady, go back where you came from. Then a lady who was told that started to film her. And she's flipping her the bird. And she's calling her a B word and all this, that, and the third. And she like tries to fight her and grab her. But people feel like it's okay. Because I'm tired of being politically correct. I'm tired of not saying how I really feel. Because that's how some people really feel.
With the whole politically correctness thing,
Yeah,
I noticed the biggest things, and again, this is what I saw.
Yeah.
I'm not privy to the entire country. I noticed people were saying that they were tired of not always wanting, and I don't mean being like outlandishly awful to someone, but they were tired of feeling like they were walking on eggshells, which is fine if you're tired of being PC that way. But I also noticed it from a large group of Christians, and I myself am one, and I kind of more felt this way as far as PC inclusiveness. This is the only time I really ever felt it was around the holidays. It used to be that they would, it felt like they were trying to take the word Christ out of Christmas to a certain degree. Not always, to a certain degree. And then Christmas, like, let's call it what it is. It's a Christian, Catholic, whatever, Jesus believing holiday. But they tried to blur the lines and make it so everybody was included. Which, I mean, it's a religious holiday. It's like I can't go celebrate other sects without being welcomed in by them.
But you wouldn't say Merry Christmas to someone that celebrates Hanukkah.
I don't have a problem with the Happy Holidays thing.
Right. But
it's the other little things. I say Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
Like, okay, dude, it's Hanukkah. It's
Kwanzaa.
Hey, dude, Happy Holidays. Like, if I know you celebrate Christmas, hey, Merry Christmas. But I don't usually say it unless I'm at a Christmas party or...
But even people at work
Christmas
go to their job's Christmas party.
Right, I get that.
They don't go to their job's holiday party.
Yeah. If I know the person's Jewish, I would, hey, Happy Holidays. I didn't have a problem with that. I just had a problem with this. Hey, everybody can be involved with Christmas, like, as far as, like, that's not really how it goes. Like, it at the end of the day, there's a large group of people that believe it's Jesus' birthday, or it's at least a recognition that their Lord and Savior was born. So while we want to make everybody feel nice during the holidays, we also kind of have to respect this religious observance. So that's kind of the only time I ever felt that it was like, to me, it was like, all right, this PC thing has gone a little bit too far, because you wouldn't go into Passover and say, I want to be a part of this, but I'm going to keep my Christian faith, but I want to be a part of this. You guys have to let me celebrate with you.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the only time I ever felt the PC. Every other thing I get.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to offend people. You don't want to do all. I get that.
I don't think the PC thing is about offending people more than it is about excluding or including people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can go on Facebook and post walnut cupcakes, and somebody be like, you know what, my daughter's allergic to walnuts. How dare you post those cupcakes, right? That's being offended.
Does that mean it's not politically correct?
You know what I'm saying? That's not what I think it is. I think what's happening is
what it, not to cut you off. You know what it used to be? It used to be, don't use derogatory remarks. Like, be politically correct that way. You know,
of course, that was
use
slurs,
and that was like, hey, you know, or sexual orientation remarks, like negative ones. That's what it used to mean,
but that was also insensitive to a lot of people still, because our traditions are our traditions, right? You have the what's the thing in school that they tried to change on the kids? Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Yeah.
You know.
How do you feel about that?
Again, it's like, it's not offensive, but it does exclude the Muslim girl that's in the front row wearing her garment, because one nation under God,
right?
They don't.
But isn't Allah a term for God? Doesn't that translate to God? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anybody that might offend that way?
Yeah, no. But no, we don't know. But I know that they want to remove it for those reasons.
But okay, you know what? It's not. It's one nation under God, but when the pledge was formed or created, it was meant for a certain religious sect of God, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they made it for, like, the Judeo-Christian followers.
Yes.
So I get what you're saying.
But, all right, to bring it back to sports, right? How about the Yankees? Your favorite team.
Talk about a complete quick segue, but I do like it. You're gonna give me the grounds to talk, huh? About
the lady who sang "God Bless America."
Oh my, yeah. What's her name?
And they removed her from the 7th inning stretch because apparently, in her day, she didn't have such nice things to say about colored folk.
Okay, so
yeah.
Trying to think for a second. Oh, okay. Okay, so I was in a conversation with, and it's not even a fucking conversation. It's just shit on Facebook. It's just boom, 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 boom. It's not even, you don't talk. It's not like this. This is a conversation.
Right.
What we've done for the last hour is a conversation. No, this was like a bitch fest on Facebook. And it really aggravated me. So, what is it? Kate Smith sang "God Bless America," right? And that's the woman that came under fire now, since she's found out to not have said some pretty nice things or whatever. So, and I'm going to come back to that. Don't forget that. I was on Facebook and we were talking about, we weren't even talking. It was a comment section about what happened with the child where her father was separated. And I saw this this person write something along the lines of, I see a lot of Christians writing that, well, her dad shouldn't have broke the rules. Well, if you feel that way, you've just earned yourself a one-way ticket to hell. Okay, so here's my thing. Right? This person has taken Christianity and has conformed it to this time period.
Okay.
Christianity back then, if you believe that the Bible was written during certain time periods, there was very, very no leniency policies on rules. So my question to her was, with that in mind, well, wouldn't Christianity that was written in biblical time periods, wouldn't they approve of this no rule breaking mentality that the U.S. has today with this immigration policy? Because back then it was almost like an arm for an arm kind of thing. It was very no nonsense with rules. If you broke this rule, this would happen, and this rule, that would happen. What I said is, you have a moral argument where you feel, based on what the goodness of Christianity should be, yeah, you're going to go to hell for that. But I don't really know if even, just because we've progressed and have been a more consciously aware, we would like to think, group of beings, humanity, it doesn't mean that maybe God feels that way. Maybe they're still in that time period of, oh, you broke the rule. You broke the commandments. This is that, and these are the punishments. And this country is just doing their thing. So, with that in mind, going back to the God Bless America, I can't take Kate Smith's rendition now and conform it to my time period and say, oh, well, she's singing about everybody. But this person will take the Christianity and say, well, because you agree with this, that's a one-way ticket to hell.
Let me ask you this. How do you feel about Native Americans?
In what regard?
In regards of immigrants in this country.
Well, there's no question that Native Americans were here first, if you believe that, because now there's debates, were there humans here before them? But if we're going to go off of that,
let's just go with what we know.
If we're going to go off what we know, because we're stupid to everything else. My thing is, what happened here in America, or what's now known
I just
as
need you
America.
to answer the question so I can get to the next
Well,
point.
we're talking about immigrants.
In regards to immigrants, how do you feel about Native Americans? They were here first, right?
Yeah, I get, because I don't know anything before that. Right. Yeah, so, okay. They were here first.
So who makes the rules on who's an immigrant and who's not?
Well, if we were to go off of that, we would say that the Native Americans would. Right?
So the point I'm trying to make
I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, absolutely,
okay. Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is this country, I like to use this phrase, we all came in on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. Mm-hmm. And you can't just let people come in whenever they want. I kill me if you want, but that is the truth, right? There has to be some sort of regulation system.
You need to know who's here, because forget even just like, oh, I need to document everybody, but like there are things like taxes that if you're making everybody pay, you can't have people here while you're making your citizens pay that don't. And then also the healthcare system gets rocked by that because they have to put money aside for that.
It gets deep.
And then the taxpayers' money.
It gets deep.
Yeah, so
you're absolutely right. And those are the sensitive subjects that people need to talk about. Yeah. Not this other BS that, oh, this undocumented person is taking jobs away from.
Right.
Let's be real.
9 out of 10 times,
the
people aren't getting those jobs.
Let's be real.
You know who's getting the job? The teenager that doesn't even want the job.
Not even that. The kid fresh out of college that's going to make $30,000. Yeah. And they can hire 3 of them for 1 of you. That's who's really taking the jobs people are talking about. Nobody out here is going to be doing the jobs that these undocumented people are doing. Let's just be honest.
Now, with that thought, that one American citizen is going to say, well, I'm a citizen of this country, and 3 of the undocumented people are taking what a citizen, quote, air quotes, should be making.
No, and I mean, and
then they start talking about this. Well, then they're going to wire the money to their homeland for their family.
Yeah.
So then what happens to
what?
The, quote, American dollar? It gets converted to that money. So then people will say, well, then we just lost money here. It's a big, like, chain of events thing.
It's all about perspective, right?
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean?
10,000%.
I think some people are the get off my lawn people.
Right.
The kid riding his bike having a good time happens to ride up on your lawn.
Oh, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn,
piece of
man.
shit.
Right? It's like, dude, really? You know, you're just not happy being.
It's like, what's going on in your life?
Yeah. Like, some people are not happy unless they're not happy.
Yeah.
You know? And then you have legitimate arguments, like you mentioned, the healthcare, the taxes.
Those are my biggest
the other
things.
And but you know,
I don't care if you make them personally. I don't care if you took every undocumented that was here right now, and Trump said, "Listen, you got 2 months, 60 days. Get to your local official office, prove that you've been here for X amount of time, and we'll give you citizenship. From this point forward, you're paying your taxes, doing this, you're doing that because why? Everybody else has to do it. But you can say, but you have to come by this time period. If you don't, then that." If he did that, I would be perfectly okay with it. Mm-hmm. The problem is when you get people that are like, well, no, we can't do that. Well, then, okay, what's the answer?
Solution?
Yeah. Either make everybody, or now we're going to have this, but then he'll lose half of his audience. And then he'll gain some of the other.
But he won't be president.
Yeah,
which is the end game.
That we are.
Which is the end game. So,
how do I feel about Kate Smith's rendition? Going back to that, I loved it.
I knew nothing else but it until that came out.
Now I know what she said. It's like, well, that was a shitty thing to say. Yeah. It still sounds nice, but I just don't like the person who's saying it.
Yeah.
So what about, since we kind of talked about LeBron and we tried to segue, what do we think about the Lakers? What's going on? You went to Staples Center.
I did. Back in 2014, I went to watch a game. I was actually at the first openly gay athlete game. Jason Collins played for the Brooklyn Nets.
That's right. He was.
And he was.
What about Cordell Stewart?
Cordell Stewart?
Yeah. I thought he was gay.
The quarterback?
Yeah.
Slash?
Yeah.
Nah. Not openly. If he was, not openly. So Jason Collins came out.
Cordell, if you're not, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I got nothing to do with that, Cordell. But Jason Collins came out, and we went out to the West Coast, me and my lady. We went to San Fran, had a good time, flew to L.A. She surprised me for my birthday with Laker tickets at the Staples Center. And we watched the game. Kobe was hurt, unfortunately, so I didn't get to watch Kobe play in the Staples Center. I got to watch Kobe play here in Madison Square Garden. And then
that's the one guy, the one athlete I wish that I could have seen play.
Yeah, it's legendary. I got it filmed and everything on my phone and my cloud. But, yeah, man, Lakers, man, we're here, man. I was very upset, livid, when I heard they were trading everything but Magic Johnson to get Anthony Davis last year. And because I'm in it for the long haul, I think if they would have developed this young talent, it would have been kind of like the Showtime Lakers in the 80s where they had a good 9-year run with a bunch of talent. Michael Cooper, Byron Scott, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, Kurt Rambis, all those guys. They were together for a long time because they built that team. So I kind of wanted to do like Golden State did with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, so on and so forth. Didn't happen that way. They ended up trading everybody in the summer for Anthony Davis, and I was very upset because I felt like, man, now what? One of those two guys get hurt, Anthony Davis or LeBron, who else you got around them to do anything? You just gave up your whole team.
Right.
But I give Rob Pelinka and Janie Buss some credit. They filled out the roster. And I'm excited for the NBA more than I am for the NFL for the simple fact that there's so much parity in the league right now with every team kind of having 2 superstars instead of 6, to where it's unfair. Golden State winning the title every year. They could have done that for the next 10 years if they kept these guys together. Kevin Durant going to Golden State was a joke.
Yeah.
But
him leaving now, right?
It's great.
You're already in Golden State.
It's great.
You're winning.
It's great. He's not a warrior.
Right.
He's not a warrior.
Right.
No matter how good he is, he won 2 Finals MVPs. Steph Curry is the beloved child in Golden State, and he'll never be that.
Was there a rift between them?
Not between them, but between Draymond, because Draymond is a tough guy.
That's right. Draymond said something. Back to Cordell. He don't mean to cut you off. He just said there was a rumor that he had been with a transvestite. But then
that happens every other Saturday night.
He went on Steve Harvey and he addressed it. He goes, I don't care if it's 10, 20, 30 years ago. If it happened, it would have been documented, let alone being with a transvestite. First of all, when in the world have I gone to jail in Pittsburgh? Because there's no record of it. Now each his own, Steve. Trust me when I tell you, but the life I started and lived with my family, the thing I understood about life is when God created the heaven and earth, he created Adam and Eve. That's all I know. So I don't know what the Adam and Eve part have to do with it, but
I think he went a little too much out of his way to prove that he wasn't. But
so I guess the rumor was a transvestite, and he's denied it. So so Cordell Stewart not gay as per his words, but so who was the guy that you saw?
Jason Collins. Openly gay, and not that it matters. It was just pretty cool to be at that game, and
it's a big moment. There's a group of people that felt like for the longest time that they shouldn't or couldn't or won't talk about it.
Again, that's what I said. It's 2009. Things started being more progressive. People started being themselves and fearless and just really coming out. And this is me. This is who I am. And I'm even doing that as myself, just as a man. You know, you just gotta be yourself. You gotta really just embrace it fully.
Right.
I tell myself this all the time. The only way not to get criticized is to not be alive, because whether you're doing right, doing wrong, people are gonna have something to say, and that goes back to the conversation I was having with you earlier about just doing you, man. Like really, just be you, do you. What makes you happy, as long as it's within reason, and
Well, that just that was what was a big driving force for me as far as starting this whole thing. Because there was a time where, sitting in the office, I would say to I remember one time sitting down, and I'll leave her nameless, but she walked by to check on us, and she saw a list that I had written down, and it was all entertainment company related stuff. She was like, "Oh, what is that?" And I was like, and I was like caught. I was like, "Shit, this isn't same job related." But she was super cool about it. She's like, "Oh, cool." She's like, "Now go rent some stuff."
Yeah, go make some calls.
Yeah. So one day I was just like, you know what? I was sitting in my parents' apartment, and my dad was at work, and my mom was in the kitchen making something, and she walks over. And this is after a breakup in 2014. She told me, she asked me, "What do you want to do with your life?" So I told her, like, I really want to DJ, but I want to do I don't just want to do a job here or there. I want to have consistent work. And she just what I said was, I don't know how to start. And then we formatted a plan, and then she just said to me, 4 words, and they just ring through my head. The time is now. Meaning go do it. The time is now. This is what it is. This is what you want to do. You're not going to wait tomorrow or another minute longer. You're going to go do it now. And then since then, it's been I started working for some companies, and then over time, our job that we were at, and then then there was the whole writing the list down for entertainment companies because I had started thinking I'm going to, form my own business. And then I did at the end of 2016. And, again, as mentioned before, here we are now in an office. I mean, I'm booking hand over fist events. And there was a time where I was doing one event a year. And I was just happy to get those one event. And now it's like, I got 4 venues that just asked me to be a part of their marketing package recently. I'm in a couple other venues, and it's just like, wow, like I went from nothing, nobody, to somewhat reputable now. So,
I mean, when you're getting reviews,
my clients say some pretty nice things.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing for us is we want to listen. We get it. It's the biggest party or the biggest celebration of one of the biggest moments of your lives, and I've never been married. And I was close to popping a question. And, I think when it does happen, the appreciation that I have for working in this industry, I think it's going to make my wedding feel like this, like, mountaintop moment, like, I finally got one. I did it. I climbed Everest.
It's great, man. You'll see. It's great. You'll get there. No rush, man. Trust me. No rush.
No, you can't rush. You gotta focus on yourself at the end of the day. And I think that's, where this whole thing comes full circle. You now want to build this thing in your life, whatever it may be, whatever direction you want to go. But, at the age you are now, you've realized this is it. This is where I have to go. Because it's not going to be not between us, but, everybody listening too that does listen to this. There's no more todays, They just become yesterdays. So how many todays are you going to waste? You're going to sit down and waste today, tomorrow, and then today, tomorrow?
That goes back to my whole philosophy of putting in work. That's what put in work means to me, right? Every day, it's you versus you.
Yeah.
Every day, you should be trying to get better than you were the day before, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's at your career, your job, whether it's with yourself, whether it's with your kids, whether it's with your whatever it is. You shouldn't waste a day just hands behind the head, feet up, You do need time off to recharge the battery, but when you get back to grinding, that's what putting in work means. Every day getting better than you were the day before at all aspects of your life.
And that vacation moment where you do have that's because you need it.
Yeah,
you should be taking vacations when you need it.
You know what's funny, and I'm starting to realize this. I'm really getting into a whole bunch of different things, whether it be like I want to learn about a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, so what's your goal? So you came here today.
Yeah.
You wanted to learn more about podcasting.
Yeah.
What's your goal 5 years?
I'm glad you say that.
Going?
So about 10 years ago, when I was a younger man,
2009.
2009.
Yankees winning the World Series.
Yes.
Good
A-Rod.
times.
All because of A-Rod.
Right.
So at the time, my girlfriend, she's in a sorority, and one of her sorority sisters was getting serious about their relationship at the time, and started G-checking us because we had been together for a lot longer than they had been together.
Funny how they do that.
All of a sudden you get a man, now you got your expert.
You guys get married?
Really, right? So she says to me, "What's your 5-year plan?" At that time, right, 10 years ago, and I was like, "5-year plan? I'm just hoping to make it to tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna happen in 5 years."
The sun's coming up tomorrow. We sure about that?
Yeah, right? So fast forward 10 years, talking about a 5-year plan. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I don't have a 5-year plan, but I have a 5-year the man I want to be.
Okay.
Right.
So where's that?
That guy?
Kojo 5 years.
That guy is kind of like a hybrid of 50 Cent, Morris Chestnut, and Wood Harris. Right.
Wow.
Right. Just a big chocolate chip stud.
Yeah.
Intellectual, healthy, caring, genuine family man. loves his friends.
Any Barry White in there?
I mean, Barry,
Situation?
I got my lady, so,
Yeah.
we don't need
Sweet
too much
singing
Barry. We don't need too much Barry. We might have a little, Trey songs every once in a while.
All
but,
right.
Trigger.
Keep it modern.
But, in all honesty, I want, when my daughter turns 10, right, which will be 9 years from now, to be current, to be up with the times. So I want to learn about podcasting, and when this evolves to the next thing, I want to learn about Bitcoin. I want to learn about, blockchain and all the transparency things that are going on, 5G, this, that, and the third. I want to throw my hand in a little bit of everything and soak it all up because I'm multifaceted. I can see you're multifaceted. And if you don't keep up, man, things pass you by so fast. So in 5 years, I'll be, 40, 35 right now. And, that's pretty much what I want to be. I want to have good habits, good routines, be a caring, genuine, honest person, and just support and provide for my family. And, doing what I love to do. Going back to the whole vacation thing, a lot of times people want to get away from their everyday life. I want it to be the opposite.
Right.
I want to wake up every day and love going to do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get up in the morning and can't wait to go to do what I got to do. And I feel like that's the true definition of living the dream. It may not be monetary, but as long as it's not work to me and I love doing it, I'm passionate about doing it, I'm sure
that's the most important thing. That's why
things will work
that's
out.
why I did this whole GSE. That's why I, when I was younger and, hey, are we going out tonight? Nah, I got a wedding tomorrow. You know why? Because if I fuck up that wedding, companies
absolutely
get a bad review.
Bad news travels a lot faster than
good
news.
Internet is, flying around with reviews.
Absolutely.
And now, listen, some people get it, some people don't. Some people are like, yeah, man, go do it. I'll talk to you on Monday, or I'll hit you up Saturday, or whatever. Some people are like, fuck him, he never wants to hang out. Well, no, because I do like to have fun. It's an awesome thing. Everybody does. But you got to find something. And I've been having this conversation a lot with people, especially like our age, even slightly younger than me, 28, 27. You have to do what's going to make you happy. I remember I was talking to my ex, not recently, but like within the last year when we first broke up. She had asked me about a decision that she should or shouldn't make for her job. Should she take a position or stay where she's at? And the one thing I told her was, you are doing things in your life for you right now, which is great. You have to keep doing that. So if you enjoy this job and this position, don't change, because, and this branches off of your monetary sentiment. I told her like this: if you're happy now and you're making X amount, right? But they want you to do a position that you hate. And I literally told this, I said, it's like when an athlete signs with a team that they're not really all on
Robinson
board for.
Cano.
Yeah, and they do a 3-year deal, 4-year deal.
10-year deal.
10-year deal.
240. Hates
tons
it.
of money, and guess what? Halfway through, they're like, this sucks.
Halfway?
Yeah.
It took him 2 years before he was like, I got to get out of here.
Now he's a Met. Now he was building the plane to take off. I told her that. About a month or so went by. Somehow crossed paths again. I dropped the housework line. She goes, good. She goes, it's the best. I haven't enjoyed it more. And I like jokingly was like, you're welcome. And she goes, that's right. You said you have to do, things for yourself that are going to make you happy. And that goes to you. That goes to me. That goes to anybody out there. I see too many people sitting around, and I'm not saying cubicle jobs are bad.
Yeah.
There's a solid source of income. But you could have a cubicle job and still go get what you want.
That's my goal.
Outside of that.
That's my goal until it becomes what you want to do.
Yes. There are too many people, though, that just sit there and say, all right, this is where I'm going to be for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I'll have an okay career, and I'll just feel like this every day. And it's like, maybe I'll get coffee in the morning and I'll wake up and I really look forward to going to the bathroom so I can look at my phone, and it's just like sitting through the HR meetings and I have to get approval for this and that, and it's like you're depressed. It happens.
It's security, right?
Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, you go to work for the health benefits, the paycheck. It keeps you out of trouble, keeps you kind of
It does, but now here's
structured.
the thing. Back to what we talked about way back in the beginning. We both agreed, and I think the general sentiment is we're supposed to be outside. So it keeps us out of trouble, but it's keeping us in boxes.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. We're institutionalized from, I mean, this is a whole nother podcast, but we're institutionalized from daycare.
From daycare. We're in a box.
You're in a room.
You're
sitting at a table.
We're on a big rock,
right,
floating through space.
And
not even go through the small continents. Go through the states. You're in a box.
Yeah, and that's
the side of a road.
That's the way we're institutionalized. Think about it, right?
Inside a bigger box, which is the school. You're in a smaller box.
But what happens when you get in trouble? Where do you go?
To the corner.
All right. And then in the real world, what happens when you get in trouble?
You go to a box.
A box.
Yep.
Where you learn how to sit at a table, eat your food.
Yep.
Bell rings, you go here. Bell rings, you go here. What do they do in high school? You go in a box. Bell rings, you go here. Bell rings, you go here.
You
sit
read
at a table.
stuff you don't want to read.
And then I'm telling you, I'm really getting into like a lot of things. Financial literacy is one of my things that I'm also into. We could talk about that. Group economics.
Yeah.
When you look at all these, Asian, Korean, Chinese people that come in and they start nail salons, and how come they have so many barbershops and nail salons and this, that, and the third? It's because they get together.
They compile their money together.
Then one steps off.
Yep.
Then they go do that there. Then another one steps off, and they just pass the money around.
Yep.
Until they're all their families are. It's a system that. Why? How?
The foreign ethnic groups. I know that doesn't make the foreign groups that come in here. They're very good at that.
But that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
We're institutionalized to think, no,
just one.
Just one.
You do it by yourself.
Right? I have a survivor pool, right? I tell people, go into it as a group. Get 6 and 7 entries together. Win it as a group.
Oh, but why? I want to win my money.
Right?
Well, you could win your money. It's going to be a little less, but you put in less.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You put in a 50 to bring home 1,000, or you put in a 50 to get nothing. It's the way we're taught.
I told my sister, I said, listen, and this is a very microcosm of group.
And meanwhile, I don't really run a survivor pool. I'm just using it as an example.
So, well, it's for lunch. You buy the winning team lunch.
Yeah.
So I told my sister, I said, hey, listen, I don't have all the funding right now to put down on a marketing thing.
Yeah.
You go in with it on me. It allows me/us to get in. You reap the benefits. That's like this group mentality. Hey, let's all get in together and we'll reap the benefits. It's not going to be, the LeBron James one-person big contract signing, but you're going to start to be able to branch out more and more and network more and more and grow things from a unit or a business or a nail salon or whatever it may be as a group. I think there's not enough effort or emphasis put on the real, I don't want to say the real world because that ties in all the other, side conversations you may have outside, but I mean like the business world, the job world, the economic world. Yeah, we learn about history. It's good to know. We learn about English because you need to be able to communicate, and I don't mean the language. I mean like the grammatical side of things. But there's a lot of shit that I learned growing up that's just gone.
Dude, here's the thing, bro. All right? It's a big world. It's a machine. And they need people to keep the machine going.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why don't they teach us about credit in high school?
Not an
Why
ounce.
don't they teach us about real estate in high school?
You know where they might teach you about credit, and I could be wrong, in those advanced placement classes.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't know, but
no, they don't teach you about that because it doesn't benefit them.
Right.
They want you.
They're going to teach you AP Bio.
Right? Yeah. They're going to teach you AP Bio and Chem and
and calc.
Yeah, all that, right?
When
Which
was
is
the last
great.
time you
Which
used-
is great.
When was the last time you used the Pythagorean theorem?
But let me tell you, if you're an engineer, if you're in those areas in that field,
Yep.
I totally get it. All right, but I look at it like this. This is what I was trying to say before. It's a system. Go to high school, go to college. Come out of college, you're in student loan debt. So I'm telling you to go to school to get a job to pay back school.
Right.
You bust your hump, you get raise after raise. It takes you 10, 12 years to finally start making some decent
Now
money.
you're gray-haired.
Right? And now you got a little one coming along,
Yeah.
and what are you going to teach that little one to do?
Same shit.
Same thing. It's a system. Because if you break the system, now you're Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Or now you're
Yeah.
Keenan Ivory Wayans. Or now you're...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't follow the...
Because you got out of line. You saw you stepped away from the current of you were in the water,
Right.
and you got out of the current and you ended up on the beach.
Dude, when I tell
In
you,
the sun
I'm
with
so
a fucking margarita in your hand.
on this wave right now, and
Do
it's
it.
scary.
Run, man.
It's scary because it's like you got a mortgage, you got a daughter in daycare, you got responsibilities. But like you said, there's no more todays,
No, there's none.
right? And I bought a board game. It's called the In-Home Banking board game. You can you can YouTube or Instagram this dude. His name is Derek Grace.
Okay.
He's got tattoos all over his face.
Yep.
He's got dreadlocks with orange tips on them.
Yeah, yeah.
Pop Belly, black dude from Tampa, Florida. And he really opened my eyes to, he's like, you mean to tell me you're going to go to your family reunion with 150 members of the family all broke doing the same thing? What you celebrating? You should be crying. That's
Right.
a damn near funeral.
Right. Listen, he's right.
Nobody's teaching you how to do something
It's
different.
a beautiful message too. While it's so dark,
But it's like,
it's amazing.
it's like, man, he's right, because I look at how hard my family worked to get to where they are now.
Mm-hmm. But you want more,
I want to be able to help my whole family.
right?
I want to be able to say, niece, you want to go to school for what? Not you need to go to school to get a good
Yeah.
job so you could support
Yeah.
this.
Oh, you need your general business.
You know what I'm
degree
saying?
So
Like-
you can be in debt.
Like it's crazy, and the whole system is designed that way for everyone. Like you said, we got trains that take millions of people and buses that take millions of people in and out of New York City every single day, or in and out of Philadelphia.
Who
or
stepped
these
out
big
of that
cities.
current and made the train?
You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Who made Ford? Henry Ford. One idea. He's employed billions, trillions of people.
yeah.
One idea.
Yeah.
Bezos.
I mean, well, I'm not a big fan of what's going on with Walmart and Amazon, but
Well, listen, they
It
had
is
the
what it is,
idea
yeah.
to make these superstores.
it is what it is.
And they're providing
I
jobs.
mean, he
and
started off with books.
a lot
Amazon.
of these people started off. Yeah, that's right.
Books.
Books. And it was those little stretchy cover
You know what I'm
things.
saying?
Yeah. We're gonna get
Netflix.
that. Oh, just Amazon.
Netflix used to deliver
Yep.
in 2 to 3 days movies to your house in a package.
Now, oh, what do you want to watch from our millions?
I got people in North Carolina and in Virginia watching my Netflix. I can't even watch it
Yeah.
because they got my password.
Yeah.
Like, too many people are streaming right
Dude,
now.
the other
I'm
day,
like, are you
man.
serious?
Dude, the other day, you talk about that kind of wake-up call. Like, shit, I can't use Netflix. So on
And I pay for it.
on one of the TVs, right? Not to bring her up, her account, my ex, was logged into the TV, the Netflix account. So I didn't even realize it was hers, because my username's been up for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm scrolling through Netflix. All of a sudden, it's like got this black filter over it. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why isn't Netflix working? So I delete the app. I install the app back on. And now there's another name, I guess boyfriend or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, this is her I gotta. So yeah, that was the whole, I can't watch it in North Carolina because other people. I had one of those. I was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, that's crazy, dog.
So,
Yeah,
but,
man.
but that's Netflix growing from the TV. You talk about North Carolina,
Yep.
I talk about the other thing. We talk about Amazon and Walmart, and Target blew up for a while.
Still, they're
You know?
getting into groceries now.
Yeah.
They're actually closing some of their smaller stores and only dealing with super centers.
Mhm.
We rent to
Yeah.
them as well. But
You got weddings. I mean, this is what I do. Now it's just like a whole different... I do photo booths. It used to be a wedding company and then a photo booth
Yeah.
company. And now we're doing videography.
Yeah.
And it's like, now we're also going to offer photography.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
optimizing your potential, man.
Yeah,
That's what
and
you're
it's
doing.
like, now we're on YouTube. This podcast will go on YouTube. There's normally video to go along with it, but the next time we'll do that. But now we got wedding videos. And it's like, from there, I don't just want to be a wedding industry guy. I want to invest in another thing. In another completely different business.
Of course.
And another one, because you know why? That is getting out of the current. Because if I go into the current, I'm going to sit in an office, and there's nothing wrong with sitting in an office. It just depends on you as a person. What you want to do, where your personality is. There
both.
were parts
Yeah.
that I loved being in the office that we worked at.
Yeah.
Then there were parts that it was like,
yeah, there's some dog days.
My God.
There are some dog days, and then you got
wall.
people yelling at you because you didn't clean the kitchen up, and you got.
Well, how come you didn't clean the microwave, dude?
Yeah,
well, how come How come you did this and you sold it for a little bit less? Well, did you make the sale? You still got money, right? Yeah, well, you can't do it at this percentage because it's 0.15 below. Who cares? You made money. There's
a budget, Kyle. There's a budget.
There's a budget. And God forbid we come in, a multi-million-dollar company comes in $500 under budget, or over budget. Give me a break. That's not the world that I want to live in. It's also, I don't think, the world that, again, going back to where we should be, it's not. I don't think that we're meant to slave away in offices for other people, let alone ourselves. If I sit in this office too long, there's a time in the winter usually where I'm inside and I'm in this office 6, 7, 8 hours a day, and I'm like, this is not okay. I need to get out. I need to go out there, even just take a walk to 7-Eleven, because there's something about being outside. Something about being outside, getting whatever that's around you into you, feeling the air. Something about that wakes you up as a person.
And that's one of the beauties that I love being in downtown Newark. For me, it's very diverse, and there's action.
It's busy.
It's action. It's Penn Station, Prudential Center, Mulberry Street, NJ Pack, all the restaurants on Broad Street, Halsey Street, things like that. So that's one of the perks. But
so you have that moment outside where it's active.
Yeah.
But then they go inside.
Yeah, but I frequently take
some time, after work to go walk around.
No, not after work.
I'm trying to save you now, but listen.
No, but I mean, it is what it is.
I get it, man. I get it. I grab the coffee downstairs.
I do it all the time.
Take a jog,
and I think it's healthy.
5 blocks.
I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy for anybody to get out and get some fresh air, come back rejuvenated. And I'm not saying you do it 5-6 times a day.
No, but you should be allotted 3 times. One in the morning, and I'm talking 15 minutes. Because you could take 15 minutes out of 3 hours. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to be okay.
I just think what happens is people tend to abuse flexibility.
Right.
And then that's when it becomes a problem.
Well, here's how you stop that. You log out for 15 minutes. Your pay's the same for the day, but you're allowed an hour and a half. You get an hour for lunch, 15 minutes in that 3-hour period, 15 minutes towards the end. In that back end of the day. It breaks it up. You go walk around, you check your phone, you send out that email or
personal,
that phone call,
whatever,
if you stretch it to 20, it's not the end of the world, but you do lose some pay. A little small amount, it starts ticking off. You're allowed this amount, but you got to clock out. The minute you start going a little over, that's it. I don't think that an hour or an hour and a half is going to make or break any business. Start getting in that 2, 3, 4 hour range.
Yeah, but people do that at their desk
all the time. Yeah,
they check out.
My favorite is listen, you're in sales. Oh, dude, after I left that job that we worked at, I went to another job. Oh my God.
Yeah, I gotta.
I went to a job, and they're selling dental equipment. And I was like, oh, this is the one that I just came from. I'll rock this out. It's close. It's nearby. Micromanagement. That's another thing we're not supposed to do. We should not be micromanaging each other.
Unless your employees act like children.
Yeah.
I had an incident the other day where I had to email somebody, and I don't care if they hear this or not.
It's fine.
Right? Where you're new. We have KPIs, right?
Yeah.
You got to hit a certain amount of calls.
Right.
You're not even close to your number.
We used to overshoot that sucker.
Right?
I remember.
Make it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Log it in.
I
Put
send
some
an
shit.
email. I'm like, no, I make a phone call because I was.
Yeah.
You know, so I called the gentleman and I'm like, yo, it's 10:30. You haven't logged anything yet. Oh yeah, I'm working on some stuff. So
you get in at
forth.
8, right?
8:30.
That's 2.5 hours.
2 hours,
Dude,
right?
you did nothing.
You figured you'd get the point. 40 minutes go by, nothing still. And we're going into a meeting at 11 to discuss the week before, and you're new. So I email him and say, per our conversation, please make an attempt to raise your numbers. Because now I got to document this to save my ass. Right?
To show that you got a finger on the pulse. Or lack thereof.
He responds back like, oh, well, I was working on 2 deals, but I'll start making calls now. It's like there's a disconnect.
Yeah, but that's a 3-hour thing for 2 deals. We know that.
Come on.
Are
you kidding me?
Are
you kidding me?
The deals take 20 minutes.
And then in the afternoon.
And if you made the deals, it'd be fine.
So then he made like 6 or 7. We go into the meeting. We come out the meeting. We get out of the meeting at 11:30. Doesn't log anything again until I email him at 3:30. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what's going on?
So when you say we shouldn't, you're right. But some people leave you no choice.
Some people deserve the
You know what I'm saying?
But what I mean is, like, if the guy's hitting their calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sales, and they go like this.
Nah, I'm not tripping on that. No.
Or even if they're working and then they're also checking.
I don't care if you zone out for an hour.
Go for it. Do your work.
I'm being honest. When it's time, this is what I tell people all the time. When it's time to work, roll your sleeves up. Let's get it done. We could talk sports all day. We got the soccer game up during the World Cup, the tennis match during the French and U.S. Open and all that. Football talk all day long, fantasy talk.
Yeah.
Remember, we can do all that.
Everything.
As long as the numbers are there.
Yeah.
And the work's getting done.
Right.
Don't make me have to flex.
And jobs like that are what are easy to
That's
go
what
to
I'm saying.
because there's some flexibility.
Yeah. Don't abuse it though.
Yeah.
Don't get used to the I need this to come in late, or I need this to leave early, or I can't come in today, or and it becomes every week, and then when someone tells you no, you get mad.
But those are the people that they have what you are recognizing that you have, which is I need to do something. For them, it's I need to do something else, but they're not acknowledging it, and they're bringing that attitude into work, and they're checked out. Or they're just whatever about it. And meanwhile, somebody should be like, hey, you want to be doing something else. What do you want to do? You know? And then, okay, get out and then give the job to somebody that wants to be there.
Yeah,
Because when you're making 6 calls in a 4-hour period, and I guess this is related prospectively to the industry that, we're talking about for those of you who are listening, you're not doing anything. There's no deal that takes 4 hours. There's no 2 deals.
Who are you talking to that you can't talk to anyone else in that time frame? Is what I'm saying. And again, this is probably more of a conversation for me and Kyle because we know what we're talking about. But there are probably some people out there that understand it as well. But it's just a respect thing at the end of the day, And it's like you said, if you don't want to be here, no one's forcing you to come here.
Right.
But as soon as you walk through those doors, or you walk into this box, as we mentioned before, these are the rules and parameters that are going to keep you coming back to this box.
You want the stability. I know it sucks. You got to grind. Sometimes the AC doesn't work, and we're sweating in August.
19 people using the men's room.
God. The good old days, man. Yeah, man. Well, listen, if there's anything that I think we can take from this entire podcast, it's just the fact that...
I'll say this. If there's anything you take from the conversations we had today, honestly, I just want to give kudos and props to Kyle. I tell him this all the time. I always like all his stuff. I'm very proud of him. Came in to work with us at a company a few years ago, had a goal, stepped out, like he mentioned before, didn't follow the trends or the path, and took on his belief and his goal. It probably wasn't all roses to begin with, a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, but he stuck with it, and now I'm here admiring all of his hard work and efforts and where he's branching out to and where I think he's going to go. I'm going to ride his coattail for a little while and learn from him.
Do it, man.
And but if there's anything I want you to take from this is just be happy with yourself. Do you really set some goals and put in work, man. Put in work every day to get towards that goal. I know it sounds cliche, but even if you do a little bit of something every day towards where it is you want to go, you may not even get there, but at least, you're a better person today than you were yesterday. And
it's just 15 minutes, in the hotel room. One day, 2 days, 3 days, next
whatever
day,
it is. Like
There's
even
a lot of
with
people
me,
that don't do 1 minute.
Yeah, I mean, even me stepping out trying to do this, was a big step for me. It's the beginning of learning how to do something that I want to do. I started playing chess again because I wanted to.
It's a brain exercise.
You know what I mean? I wanted to exercise again.
It's a challenge.
It's very challenging.
Yeah,
and it's probably not fair because the computer is a little.
Did you see the Will Smith Instagram post?
Yes.
Where he's playing his son.
Yes.
He's
very inspirational.
What's it called? A tie or a draw?
Yeah. Stalemate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I do appreciate the praise.
Absolutely.
I'm not one that gives it to myself, and maybe as much as I should, or at all.
Yeah.
Just it has been a journey. It's been ups, downs, a lot of good. I really can't stress that enough. There's been some low moments where you gotta, strap up your boots and kick some doors down and get through it. But the one thing that, and I guess this is for anybody listening too, before we wrap this up, if you see somebody that is saying, I want to do this, not my industry, but any industry, I think the first thing you should do is say, do it. Because, the meeting, and I'll name drop her with Nicole, when I was leaving, I said, I'll give you 3-4 weeks if you need, but I told her, I said, I'm into this business, and she said, do it. As in, go form your business. And if it wasn't for that, and then now your words of encouragement, and people that have worked with me throughout the years, this wouldn't even be possible even to be here. And we're still relatively small, but we've grown a lot. I'll just leave it with this quote. I heard this on a Joe Rogan podcast. He was podcasting with Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil said this, and I actually found the tweet, but he said this in person, and I heard it yesterday for the first time ever. He tweeted this June 23rd, 2015 at 1:30 p.m. He goes, "We generate the results in life we think we deserve." So you can let that sit with you however you feel. But if it's a subconscious thing, make it a conscious thing. What do you deserve? What do you want to go get? How do you want to talk to people? Or how do you want to, change over the next 5 years, as we talked about when you're 40? How does, somebody want to grow their relationships with people? We generate the results in life we think we deserve. And I think that's spot on.
I agree with you, man. It's a speaking into existence kind of thing. And I keep saying it, but you can't expect things to happen without putting in the work.
Exactly.
So, Kyle, thanks for having me.
Kojo, my man.
Keep doing what you're doing, and we should do this again, man.
Yeah, always. You're always welcome here. So you just let me know when you're ready to come back. We'll do round 2, and till next time. Bye, everybody.
See you.
That was fun.
It was good, man.